I'm going to share the rules for an effective cold call or effective cold calling. Many of you are connected to me because you are clients of our company, and one of the primary ways in which we sell or solicit our service is through cold calling. And cold calling is an incredibly effective way to generate business when you know how to do it right. Much like anything can be an effective way to generate business if you do it right. Now, there are some social media proponents that say stupid things like cold calling is dead. No, it's not dead. In fact, it's very much alive, and I think today it's much more effective to cold call than it has ever been before. Number one, because of stupid people that say cold calling is dead, it reduces the number of cold callers, which makes it better to do it because it's a less saturated channel. Also because today finding leads is easier than ever for your business and you can automate it, therefore increasing the number of contacts, which is one of the primary keys in effective cold calling, is having an amount of contacts to decision makers that are qualified for your product or service, and you have to set those targets. And so cold calling is incredibly effective, but there are some rules. There are some rules that need to be followed, and some clients have been asking me about how we do it, and so I'm going to cover a couple of basic rules, really simple. Number one, a good cold caller, first of all, before anything else, has excellent tone on the phone. Tone is so important on the phone, and most people, even high-level professionals, when put into the situation of having to sell a service, completely change their tone and become weak. And I won't get into some very complex dynamics of social status and interactions, but if you need to know more about tone, message me. There's some good books about it that you can learn from and implement. The next thing, and this is very important, is your primary purpose of the call. Primary purpose. What the primary purpose is, it's the first thing that you want when you make the call. Like, that's the thing that you really want. And firstly, sending information to somebody is not your primary purpose, ever. I'll give you an example. Like most people, especially in executive selling, like if you're the CEO of a company, I have way more information than I ever need. I have so much information. I'm always dealing with information. The last thing that I'm going to look at is more information. And if somebody wants to send me information, go ahead. I will never look at it. It'll go right in my garbage or my deleted bin, whatever. Nobody looks at information. So if your primary purpose is to send information, you've already lost. You're wasting your time. Your primary purpose is also not to make the sale of the product or service on the phone. Unless you are a one-call sale kind of an organization, like you're calling something where you can collect their credit card right there and then. Then it might be to make a sale. But for most businesses, the first call, you're not expecting to take their credit card because there's a much more involved process or it's a big ticket item. And so generally your primary purpose is to get an appointment. Not to make a sale, to get an appointment. That is the primary purpose. And then after you have the primary purpose, you need the secondary purpose. The secondary purpose is the thing that you want if you can't get the first thing. So if you can't get an appointment right there and then, what's the second thing that you want? And then it could be something more informational, because that's kind of the only option you have. But information is never your first purpose. It's at best your second purpose. The first purpose, generally, you just want to get an appointment. Just sit down, connect face-to-face. That's when things happen. And the last thing I'll mention here, and this is kind of some basic laws here, is your key performance indicators, your KPIs. You need to have set KPIs so you can measure your success. And it's funny to me, but a lot of organizations I work with or consult with or just that ask, when I talk to other executives and they ask me questions about this, they don't know their KPIs. They have no measurement mechanism. They have no targets. They don't even know if it's profitable for them or not when they're using, their sales campaign. It's absolutely important that you have KPIs so that you know your break even, so that you know your opportunity cost of investing that money in other areas of the company. And most organizations don't understand or don't have a sales process that's automated enough in order to understand their own metrics. And so this is incredibly important because if you knew that a sales campaign, when run effectively, gives you a 30% return on your dollar, all your money would go there. And if you don't know what those numbers are, then you need to know. So there you go, a couple of rules for effective cold calling. Have a good day.